Good evening and welcome. Let's take a look at our top story this hour. The Chinese and Australian envoys to India got into a Twitter spat as they traded barbs over the escalation of tensions in the South China Sea. The spat began after Australian High Commissioner to India expressed concern over China's actions in the South China Sea. Beijing's envoy to New Delhi has blamed Canberra for provoking escalation of tensions in the South China Sea region. Ambassador Sun Weidong has tweeted, and I quote, "China's territorial sovereignty and maritime rights and interests are in conformity with the international law, including the UN CLOs. And it is clear who safeguard peace and stability and who destabilize and provoke escalation in the region," unquote. His comments were in response to Australian High Commissioner to India, Barry O'Farrell, who had earlier stated that Australia remains deeply concerned by the Chinese action in the South China Sea region that is destabilizing and could provoke escalation. After the Sun Weidong's claims over China following the international law and the UN Convention of the Laws of the Sea, Barry O'Farrell took to Twitter to thank Weidong and asked him to follow the South China Sea arbitration. Farrell tweeted, and I quote, "Thank you, Chinese ambassador to India. I would hope then you will follow the 2016 South China Sea Arbitral Award, which is final and binding under international law, and also generally refrain from actions that unilaterally alter the status quo," unquote. Apart from the South China Sea, the Australian High Commissioner criticised China over the border row in eastern Ladakh. Australian envoy has stated opposition to Chinese attempts to unilaterally alter the status quo along the line of actual control. He stated that Australia supports continued moves towards de-escalation. How did the dispute start in the first place? In 1982, the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea was adopted and signed. It had formally extended maritime resource claims in international law. Now, during this time, at least 6 governments had laid claims to 2 disputed islands in the South China Sea. Largely uninhabited islands, the Parasols and Spratlys were reserves of natural resources. The sea was a major shipping route. China, Vietnam, the Philippines, Taiwan, Malaysia and Brunei have been competing claims. China, however, claims the largest portion of the territory. The area stretches hundreds of miles and is defined by the 9-dash line. China says that its rights to the area goes back centuries. The country gives its claims a historic angle, saying that the Parasol and Spratly Island chains were an integral part of China. Critics say that China has not clarified its claims properly. All of the other countries involved in the dispute also contest China's claims. For instance, Vietnam says that it actively ruled over the 2 islands since the 17th century and has enough evidence to prove it. The United States sent military ships and planes near the disputed areas under what it called the freedom of navigation. The region is highly militarized, with all sides accusing each other, and there have been several maritime confrontations. Recently, Australia formally rejected China's territorial and maritime claims in the South China Sea. It said that China's case had no legal basis. The move comes amid deteriorating relations between Australia and China over a number of issues, including the call for global investigation into the origin of coronavirus.